Hi, and welcome to Table Talk with Heidi, Jakoby again today. I want to thank you for joining us. Today, my guest is Victor Oates, and we're going to be talking about Warrant Article number 32, which is the warrant article concerning the adoption of a town manager form of government. I'm just going to read you the first section of that warrant. Do you favor adoption of the town manager plan as provided in Chapter 37 of the revised statutes annotated? So this is a change in our government, and Victor Oates was the sponsor of the petition warrant article. Welcome, Victor. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi, Heidi. Thanks for having me on. My name is Victor Oates. I'm on the planning board for Hudson, New Hampshire, and I've been living in the town for just about 15 years. Love Hudson, love everything about it. I just, I saw an opportunity to change the way the direction of the town is going based on growth, and I'm glad we're having this discussion today to talk about it.
Great. My main goal in doing this is really to keep the voters informed so that you can make the best decision possible on March 12th when you go to the polls. So this warrant article changes our town government and would be in line with other towns of similar size. Can you briefly tell us a little bit about how this changes our government?
Well, currently, Heidi, we are a town administrative form of government, which is set up typically for towns under 20,000. Think Pelham, one of our neighbors. They have a town administrative form, but they're also under a population of 20,000. We're looking to pivot to town manager. Why? We have one of the 6th largest populations in the state, and at 26,000 residents roughly, I thought it was the right time to make that move.
Let's break this down a little bit. Tell us about other towns, their size and their forms of government. And we're going to take a look at your slide so that people can visualize what you're talking about. Excellent.
In New Hampshire, the top 6 towns and cities by population size each have a distinct managerial structure. Dover and Rochester stand out because they're both over 30,000, and they have city managers. A town like Londonderry, which is a neighbor of ours, has a population just above 26,000 and has a town manager style. And that pretty much aligns up throughout the state. Once you cross over the 20,000 barrier, pretty much every town has pivoted to town manager. And then when you get closer to 30,000 or above, that's typically when you start to change and pivot to a city manager style.
Okay, well that makes a lot of sense. So towns continue to change throughout time based on population and the different forms of government that town would like to have.
Exactly, and that is one of the key reasons that we want to switch to a town manager style. A town manager brings structure, they bring accountability. Most importantly, the big thing for me is a town administrator doesn't require any sort of education requirements. The state law for New Hampshire under RSA 37 forces the requirements of education, and it states right in that first line that when the Board of Selectmen are looking to hire a town manager, they must look at that individual's education and background when making their decision.
Yeah, and I understand that this also came up at the deliberative session. Just an aside to some people who might not have been there, we're not saying that the Board of Selectmen doesn't look at education as they hire other people. What we're pointing out is this particular law states it.
Correct. Under New Hampshire law, RSA 37, it states that the Board of Selectmen must look at a particular background and structure, typically in municipal government, typically with a project manager background, something that would best serve a town that's growing and has growth and development needs, which you typically see in towns that are crossing into the 20, headed towards 30,000 residents type of population.
Right. Well, that makes a lot of sense. I just wanted to clarify that for our viewers. So, Victor, what are some of the disadvantages of this change?
Well, one of the biggest disadvantages you typically find with the town manager is the salary. Most town managers get paid a premium somewhere between 140 and 200,000 a year. If you look at different positions across the state, but I don't see that impacting Hudson, because right now our town administrator, who is doing a great job, is being paid a town manager size salary, but without the ability to do the management and extra duties that a town manager requires. And that's where I kind of like, well, I'm not going to be concerned about the salary because he's already getting paid to do a job. And when you go through the rest of the state, every other town administrator in the state is typically getting paid $30,000 to $40,000 less a year than our current town administrator. And for me, I think he's doing a fine job. I just want him to be able to do more and be more efficient in his daily activities.
I can understand that. How will this affect staffing?
Well, it'll pivot staffing away from the Board of Selectmen. Look at a town manager more like a CEO of a company versus a town administrator, which would be a COO. Instead of right now the town administrator, recruiting and bringing potential options to the Board of Selectmen, or the Board of Selectmen going out and doing research to find how they're going to fill our next town planner, the town manager would do all that work for them. They would go out, they would do the hiring, they would determine the best candidate based on qualifications, and then they would bring their recommendation in who they're going to put in that position to the Board of Selectmen to review. So it doesn't, necessarily take away real power from the Board of Selectmen. It just makes things run more efficiently. So a couple of years ago, the Board of Selectmen asked a municipal company, and we paid them $14,000 roughly to do a background study on the town. And one of the recommendations was to pivot to town manager and also hire an HR director, which the two would work in unison together with the Board of Selectmen, and it would just be a more efficient operation.
So a study that was done to review the staffing of the town actually had this as a recommendation.
It did.
And it wasn't moved forward, and you, looking at the cost and the salary, you, from what I'm hearing, decided this was a good time to bring this up and raise the question.
100%. I mean, I didn't come up with this idea necessarily on my own. I was just reading the documents that the Board of Selectmen had done, and I reviewed the study, and I'm like, well, this was 2 years ago.
Right.
Where is this? It recommended us hiring an HR manager. Where are they? And I was like, you know what? Let's put forth this petition based on this information, based on this professional study, and see what the voters of the town feel.
Right, and you were able to get enough signatures to get it onto the ballot. So let's be clear, it's not only Victor, but a group of citizens who felt this was the time to at least raise this question to the voters. So Victor, how will this change and affect the selectmen in our town? We currently elect 5 selectmen.
We would still have 5 members of the Board of Selectmen. Nothing would change there. But they wouldn't be so focused on the day-to-day operations and the administrative tasks like they currently are. I'm not sure if you've watched a Board of Selectmen meeting. I know you've gone to plenty.
I've seen some in person. I have watched many.
But, they tend to go on, and you see item P, Q, R, and it goes on and on. What it would do is it would take those Board of Selectmen meetings, and it would take them from 3 hours down to an hour and a half, which when you watch Board of Selectmen meetings, don't fault me, for other towns that have town managers, they're typically no more than an hour, hour and a half, depending on what's on it, because that town manager is covering and taking care of so much other duties without the Board of Selectmen needing to spend their time to focus on
to weigh in on some of those daily activities and the everyday running of the town. Is that what you're saying?
Correct. And I think that the big thing for me is I also understand, why many see the reduction in power and as a loss of control to the Board of Selectmen. I understand that concern. But I think this is a great time to do this because Mr. Malizia has been in that position for decades, multiple decades, and he has that trust built up with the Board of Selectmen already, which I think will mitigate that concern of loss of control. And as Mr. Malizia one day retires, because I don't envision him doing that for the rest of his life, he's the perfect person at this time to work on this transition with the Board of Selectmen. It's not we're appointing someone new. We're appointing someone they already know and they already trust to start this transition together so they grow and understand the powers. So one day when it's someone new, everybody feels a lot better about it.
Well, and I think to that point, that was the second part of the article, Warrant article, that I didn't read, because the second part is advisory, and you're advising that Mr. Malizia stay on and help with this transition. So I just want the voters to know that that's advisory, and that would be at the discretion of the Board of Selectmen if this is passed.
Correct. The first part of it is, do we favor the appointment of a town manager? That is the law in New Hampshire. Everything else after that is strictly advisory. And it's just there to put the Board of Selectmen and the voters at ease that no, we're not going to be bringing in someone new. The Board of Selectmen can just continue to run as is, but allowing Mr. Malizia to do a little bit more to help make Town Hall more efficient.
Yeah, so the real point of this town manager is to try and create some efficiencies and to give the Board of Selectmen some time to really focus on maybe strategic planning and some other larger issues in town. Let's be clear, the Board of Selectmen would still be the ones hiring the town manager, and there would still be a relationship between the town manager and the Board of Selectmen. I just want to make that really clear to everyone. As we go forward, please ask questions of the Board of Selectmen and of others, and also go online. The documents we're referring to are online, and you can be informed. So it's a lot to consider as we look to the future of Hudson. Do you have any final words for our audience today?
Residents of Hudson, this March election day, we have the opportunity to vote yes on Article 32 for the appointment of a town manager. The decision is not just about changing how we govern. It's about embracing a future where Hudson thrives through enhanced efficiency and unity. By voting yes, we're choosing to streamline our town's operations, foster better decision-making, and strengthen our community engagement. It's about making Hudson a better place for us all, ensuring our town is managed with vision and expertise. This is our moment to come together, affirm our commitment to progress, and say with one voice, yes, we can make Hudson thrive. Let's seize this opportunity for a brighter future by voting yes on Article 32 this March. Thank you.
Thank you, Victor, and thank you all for watching. I hope this was informative, and I hope you stay curious about the Warrant articles that you are to vote on March 12th. Come out and vote and use your voice, because local elections affect you the most. Thank you.